My friend texted me and said somebody said these tech issues are the work of the. I have a whole collection of ring lights. Like I literally have like 5.
Okay. This is so funny. Oh! Are we? I think so. Are we live right now? Oh my god, I think we're live. Oh, I think we did it. Oh my god.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Welcome to Chewed Gum. What the fuck?
Miracles do happen, see?
See? Wow. That was so crazy. I don't even know what Jimmy ended up doing to make this work, but
it's a temporary solution, but I will, well, we're going to have to run with it. They can all hear me. I turned myself on so everybody could hear me.
Oh.
I'm going to give it back to the producer in training. It has to have something to do with the new hardware. What do I hear? Okay. Anyway, y'all have fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Well, welcome to Chewed Gum, finally. We've been welcoming you to Chewed Gum for 30 minutes, many times.
Yeah, like 5 different times.
Hoping that one of the times you would hear it. So now you have, and I'm so happy about it. Okay. Today is July 15th, and this is Chewed Gum. We talk about purity culture things and sex and relationship things and deconstructing things and just lots. You can call in at 720-619-2288. You can also use the web link in the description if you would like. And I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Taylor.
Yay! And we're here. Sorry about the tech situation. That was crazy, and I don't know what happened, but Jimmy figured it out because he is so big brain, and now we're live. As a reminder, super chats of $5 or more will be read at the end of the show, and I think we should just start taking calls because we are so behind where we normally would be. So we have a theist who is in the queue, so I would love to pull Emma Grace on. So I'm going to pull her in first. $5 or more will be read at the end of the show. Okay. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
Oh, I hear myself in the background.
Is it better now? I'm sorry.
No, it's totally fine. Yeah, it's much better now.
Better.
How are you?
I'm all right. We're just real quick. I go by Emma Grace.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That'd be great. And apparently there were issues, and I didn't even know because I was just sitting here cooking soup. And
good.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk to y'all for a long time, but I'm always working on Tuesday.
Oh, well, I'm excited that you finally got to call in. That's awesome. So, and your topic sounds really interesting. So do you want to explain what you wanted to talk about today?
Yes, I would. I am wondering how much of kink or fetish ick is just like a stronghold from deconstructing purity culture. And I know like there's a lot surrounding kink, even like with my own kinks and discoveries that I had to learn a lot about when reprogramming how I educate about sex and reproductive justice, is a big one being polyamory. And the reason why I'm asking this is because my spouse and I have had our marriage open for over a year, but I just like met a polyquad at a progressive church and was just shocked and appalled and pearl clutchy cunt at first after reevaluating and asking a lot of questions, realized it was mononormativity from the West and nuclear family propaganda giving me those icks, and not necessarily an inherent good or bad thing, just like a neutral sort of thing. But what I am having a problem with in my dating life is whenever I'm on like a dating app, I get, if I have a physical disability, and if I am open about that online, I either get no matches or just get a handful of people who are devotees or have a fetish for disability, which gives off major red flags in my gut and in my DMs. But I also want to talk to people who don't know me personally and can maybe give me perspective if I'm just being uncharitable towards those people or if there's something more there.
Well, so for kinks and fetishes, most of the time what we've seen is people, their kinks and their fetishes are, I'll just use kink as like the overarching. People's kinks are more likely, and the things that they fantasize in general are more likely just whatever is taboo to them. So like there was a massive survey that was done a couple of years ago in the US, and it was like 4,000 people. And in that survey, and this is like one of my favorite little facts from this book, but it's an entire book. It's called Tell Me What You Want. And it's all about that survey that they had done. And it's all about like what fantasies and kinks and whatever people want to explore. And in that book, they talked about how people who are registered Democrats are more likely to engage in kinks that are like role-playing traditional roles. So role-playing things that are like the maid or like a trad wife. Like they are more inclined to doing that. Republicans or people who register as Republicans are more likely to have kinks and fantasies that are related to infidelity, group sex, orgies. Like it's so basically what we do in the bedroom is a lot of the time things that are really taboo for us in our everyday life. So I think that there is a part of it that is kind of like if you're deconstructing from purity culture or you really experience purity culture, it's exciting. Our brains really want novelty. And when we are in any sort of sexual experience, that certainly applies. And for some people, there's some people who will be with their partner for a certain period of time and they'll experience like a slump in their sex life. And most of the time it's a lack of novelty. Like they just need to shake it up in like some small way and it will refresh the whole situation. But yeah, I think it's wanting novelty. I think sometimes it also is like a way to maybe explore things that felt like they were once really like dangerous, taboo, and like not okay and shameful, and bring them into your everyday life so that it feels like there's some level of acceptance around it. So yeah. Does that make sense?
It does, especially like something I try to tell people who are exploring things they want to do, like during physical intimacy is like, your first thought is probably your heuristics or your worldview that you were brought up in. So if it was in an American school system, there's probably some Christo-fascism in there. But then your second and subsequent thoughts are you're actually thinking something through and wrestling with it, and is probably more of your values or desires that you reflect or want to reflect. But what I'm having trouble with is when it comes to this one thing of only having this one particular type of person even try to match with me, just constantly thrown in my face. Because if I see a kink or have people share their kinks with me, it's something that I can think about, kind of write in a journal, put on a shelf, and don't have to think about anymore. But this gets thrown in my face a lot. And I feel like an asshole for not being into it, but thinking that's just part of my identity. So how does a kink or a fetish that is part of your identity work into that? Yeah.
I think it's perfectly fine that your reaction to this is, I don't really want people making a kink out of my disability. Like, you are entitled to have that be how you feel. Like, that's totally fine. And part of it is also like you're being kind of sexualized without your consent when people do things like that. Like, it's different if you have established a relationship with a person and they say like, hey, I actually want to explore something with you. And you already, at this point, you've established you are safe with this person, emotional, physical safety, and then maybe you open up that conversation. But if they're coming to you first with like a kink like that, no matter what it is, it's like it feels similar to me to if you have like big boobs or whatever and you're on a dating app and every message you get is about motorboating you. It's like, okay, like that doesn't feel good. So it can feel objectifying, I'm sure, and it's sexualizing you without your permission. So I think I mean, you could put somewhere on your profile if you're interested in having a conversation about like kinks or whatever it is, however you can word it so that it feels like kind of clear. Please don't message me because it's completely
but you know
understandable.
what happens when you write that down?
What?
Everyone messages
People do it.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah.
It attracts more people who say, don't do this. And
Yeah.
I feel like actually what you said, I feel like a low wattage light bulb just kind of went off above my head, and I'm shocked Pikachu meme right now of you saying that it is like basically not with my consent, and it's realizing it's actually fucking ableist, and I hadn't thought about it necessarily in that sort of way until you said that it's not with your consent type thing. So thank you for that. I had a little light bulb moment there.
Good. Okay, good. I'm glad. And I wonder if it might be worth using an app that allows you to reach out first, like you know how Bumble does that? Like I wonder if that might change the result that you have because ultimately, like, we can't control the actions of others. You can only control the actions that you want to take. And the only thing that you can really do is like if people reach out to you with those kinds of comments, like I would report them and block them, and or come off of those apps where people can reach out to you in that way, and or like you could also just not check the section of people who reached out to you first and just go on reaching out to people on your own. And if people like are matching with you first, just be like, maybe we ignore that section. I think there just has to be like a little bit of like, take the control back and who has access to you to the best of your ability. Like, obviously it's not really perfect, but to the best of your ability.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of nobody if I do that, but I would rather like know from the get-go if someone is a red flag or not good and not date at all than have that sort of objectification.
Totally. I mean, I'm trying to think if there's any other things that you can try. I mean, sometimes I think it's helpful
I try to go out in person.
Yeah, like that's really helpful for sure. And sometimes I think it's helpful to even use like things like OkCupid where like you have to do like a whole profile versus like swiping back and forth vibes. And I don't know, maybe that might give like a little bit of a different clientele, for better or for worse, but it might bring you like a different group of people. I always feel like for services like that where you have to take time and write something all the way through, or things that you have to pay for, which nowadays I haven't spent a lot of time on the apps in like many years, but nowadays I hear that it kind of doesn't matter what app you use. They put like paywalls behind like all of their best services, which is like
that's lame.
That sounds it sounds fucking annoying. I don't envy having to go on the apps because it's hard. Like it's hard. But also I think what will also be will continue to be helpful is just like, you know, it's always going to be a numbers game. There's going to be a lot of like people who are going to be a whole bunch of like weirdos no matter what. And as you know, putting yourself out there to the best of your ability without harming your mental health. Like if you're feeling like really icky about it, then get off the apps, take a break, like be in real life, go to singles events, I know like in New York City they'll do like singles parties and they're really fun, and doing stuff like that might be helpful.
Yeah, like, or I guess in my case, poly parties.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wait, okay, so actually I have a question, Emma Grace. Are the apps that you're on like are they things like Field, where it's like you're potentially looking for someone who's interested in poly, so you're in like a kink adjacent space?
So Field and Hinge, but also I just don't match with anyone on Field. It's like Hinge that this is happening.
Okay. I was just curious because I felt like on Field, I was like, I don't know, maybe people are going in it sort of like kink minded and that's where it's coming from, but I guess people are just weird on every app.
I don't mind. It's just that one, yeah.
Yeah, it's like ultimately the problem is not the kink. It's that it's being presented to you without your permission. Like you did not consent to that at all, and it's just being like dropped off on your lap, and it's objectifying. So you have every right to feel icky about it, but just find little ways that you can like take control back, I think.
Okay. It feels like I am not the asshole in this situation, and I guess that's what most of this call was in my mind. And I've been wanting, like I said, to call you for a while now. And I really appreciate yapping and Pikachu meme moments. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you for calling.
All right. I hope y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Okay. When was the last time you were on a dating app?
I was just about to say I do not envy that. But the last one I used was Hinge, and I feel like it was like okay. I feel like it was like better than something like Tinder, which I've never even used. So, but I've heard people say that, you know, apps like Hinge are a lot better than Tinder because it's more like personality based, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But there were still definitely weird people on there. Very weird.
I think we're entering a point where sorry if I'm getting laggy, I'm opening Discord on my computer. We've entered a point where I think the dating apps are inferior to, well, I guess it's always been like this. It's always, I think, better to meet people in person because then you get like it's just a different experience. And for some people, dating apps are helpful because maybe they like don't really like approaching people in real life, or they live in an area that makes it like not so easy. But the dating apps are fucking rough. Like they're just rough.
Yeah, they are. And I feel like the younger generations are way less likely to like go to something like single events or anything like that. I mean, a lot of us have become pretty antisocial, and also life that would actively, you know, go up to somebody and introduce themselves as far as like asking for their number or something. And maybe that's something people in general just need to practice, but it's hard. I know it's hard for people.
Yeah, it is. And I have a lot of conversations with like my coaching clients and people in general, like especially with men, where they don't want to make women uncomfortable when they approach them because they're, I think, so aware of like the climate of everything that they're nervous about it. So I get that too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like all bad. Anywho, we have some more calls. So, I can't remember. Are you in call-in studio? Like, can you see the calls yet?
I had to exit out of it because we had to like relaunch the call or whatever. And I've tried to log back in and it will not load the page. So that's pretty cool.
Okay. Okay. I was going to see if you had any preference for a call, but I think, okay, I'm going to pull in Ron, who's calling from California. Is it working? Okay. Ron, hello. Are you there?
Hi, Ron.
Ron.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, it's working.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So
there.
I see in our notes that you called because you don't agree with the title of the show, which is Purity is Pure Nonsense.
Yeah,
Tell us more.
I don't understand what y'all mean by purity, because if we go in with something like a different definition, then it's kind of gonna be weird.
So in the context of this show, Taylor, actually, do you want to explain? I've been yapping so much.
No, I was just gonna say it's like religious purity, like Christian purity, like the idea that your worth is ideas like that, yeah.
Okay. First of all, all right, my bad. I'm an atheist. I shouldn't even came on here like that. I don't believe that necessarily. So no, I'm not even gonna argue against that. But I do got one thing that's probably gonna be controversial to y'all, and I do believe this.
Okay, what is it?
Okay.
All right. Me and my homeboys was having a talk the other day about this, and it's kind of going viral because it's like a little video that be going viral, and they talking about if you date a trans woman, you gay, right?
Okay.
I'm in my head like I kinda agree, and I don't understand. Like I agree actually. I'm not kinda. I fully agree. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with being gay. I just don't think people like the term because they don't like how it feels to be on them. Like to me, the definition of gay is liking the or having a sexual attraction to the same sex, right? I think you gay.
Mm-hmm.
A female, they be like a female, you gay too. I call them gay, even though I know it's lesbian is the word for it, but I call them gay too. They're gay because they like females, right? And there's a female that like females, right? I understand the difference between gender and sex, I think, but if you start with if you say gender and sex aren't the same thing, so a trans woman, even though her sex was a male, can be a trans woman, then her sex is still a male before she was a trans woman, and that makes it the same sex. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. What I think is important to note is when we're using descriptive terms like gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever, we're creating a little container to live in, but it's not really. It is kind of for us, but it is also a way to
ain't that what we do
communicate.
Anyway? What? Sorry. I'm like, ain't that what we do? That's just what we do. It's human. We make words mean things to us.
But so I think where I think the disconnect is what someone has in their pants is not really defining their gender expression. And when people are talking about who they're attracted to, I think that it probably has more.
What you got in your pants for sure.
Wait, sorry. What did you say?
When we talk about who we attract, when we're talking about who we're attracted to, it does have something to do with what's in your pants. Sure.
I think it might really. I think it varies, but I think that when we're talking about trans women, they are women regardless of their genital area. There's also people who are intersex who have like a kind of blend of what the reproductive or genital anatomy is. Sometimes
people
it's
like that. Like I said, people like that though, I wouldn't be able to say that you're gay for dating them. I'm not gonna say that.
Well, I'll ask you this, Ron. What is the importance to you of labeling it one thing or the other? Because here's the thing.
It's not. It's just that this is stuff that we say, and if I say it and all of a sudden you get defensive, like, no, I'm not gay, but you're so happy to be like gay pride, then it's like, why are you scared of that? Why are you scared of that term? Why are you scared of somebody referring to you like that when you was for it?
It's not.
I'm not necessarily against it.
It's not that anyone is scared. It's not that anyone is scared of being called gay. I think it's more that it invalidates that that's a woman. You're immediately invalidating that this trans woman is a woman. You're immediately taking that away from her. And the other part of it too is if a trans woman who is, I mean, and it shouldn't be contingent on this, but for the sake of this conversation, if a trans woman who is female presenting, like if you saw her on the street, you'd be like, that's a woman, is dating someone who is male presenting, and then that guy says to you, I'm gay, per your, like, you know, how you're explaining it, I'm gay, and then you see that this is a woman. Now this woman has to explain to you that the reason why he's saying he's gay is because she still has her male genitals. And it's like, why are we talking about people's genitals? It's not really anyone's business. And so I don't think it
got nothing to do with the genitals. I just think it's like, if you're proud of it, be proud of it. Because if you're proud of it enough to say, I have a trans girlfriend, boom, you gay. To me, I might not even say it out loud, but boom, you gay.
But just
cool.
Just because they say they're not gay doesn't mean they would be ashamed if they were. What if they just genuinely don't feel that way? Like they're only attracted to...
It'd be like that sometimes too. It'd be some people that's closeted and to say they not gay, knowing goddamn well they gay.
So
if someone's
you don't got to express it. I just feel like it is what it is.
If someone's only attracted to like people who are presenting themselves as like women, would you still like call them gay?
No, but if they figured out that at a point of birth, this person was a male, and they continued, I feel like you'd have no problem being gay.
But okay, so here's another thing, Ron.
Because
the labels that we
somebody
make,
was trans, and I don't know what's in their pants. Say somebody was trans, and I don't know what's in their pants. They don't have to be fully transitioned. And say they're not fully transitioned, and they still got male parts, but they're a trans woman. You gay.
So another thing that I think would be worth considering is these labels are meant to create clarity externally. Like if
I think it's damn near
everyone
impossible to create clarity in such a spectrum, if you ask me. So that's why I feel like nobody's like, it's like trying to break down
here's
and like,
the
make
thing.
a law. It's like how they have a problem with
Ron,
the laws in the
you're
bathroom.
interrupting me a lot.
Without...
Okay, he's interrupting me a lot, and I just want him to just hang on for a second. Okay, Ron, if you hear me, I muted you for a second because you're interrupting a lot, and it's really hard to get a point in when you're doing that. So, okay, what I was gonna say before you interrupted me again was, if these labels like gay, like straight, or whatever are really like they're meant for external consumption. Like me in my room by myself with my partner, I don't need to put a label on if it's gay, straight, pan, whatever. Like it doesn't matter, because why would we need to create the label? The label is kind of for like external consumption. So external consumption meaning that if I am dating a trans woman, I am dating a woman regardless of what is in her pants. So I think you're also just wanting to I think it's like a little bit of like a masculinity ego-y thing where it's like if there's a penis involved, you're immediately gay. But then I would like to know how you feel, Ron, I just unmuted you too. I'd like to know how you feel about what if a guy likes a strap-on? Like likes their female, genetically born female, likes being pegged. Then what are they?
Gay.
only dates women who are...
They only date women?
Yeah, they only date women, only date cis women.
If you like... You're getting something, obviously you're attracted to some type of motherfucking something that looked like a dick. Because I wouldn't want to get pegged. Do I get pegged?
Okay,
I don't get pegged.
But
if I wanted to get pegged, it's because I'm attracted to something that looked like a dick. So I'm gay.
No, that's just not true.
I'm attracted to that gender part.
Ron.
That gender part means something too. And if I'm attracted to what another gender has, and I'm saying, okay, girl, put this on. You attracted to
Ron.
It wouldn't matter if a dude was doing it to you.
Ron.
If a dude was doing it to you, it would be the same thing.
Ron. So I think it would another. Okay, so if you, Ron, because you are a cisgendered man, correct?
Right.
And you're straight.
I'm straight. I'm straight on all that. No putting nothing in my booty. No nothing in that.
Okay. Okay. And you've never had anal sex with anyone.
No.
You've never penetrated someone else's butthole.
I have.
You have.
For
Okay.
sure.
So why does that make you still straight? Because a butthole's a butthole, and it could be a guy's butthole, but you're attracted to it.
In front of it. Because there's not a dick dangling in front of it. That's gonna fuck up my mojo.
Okay,
What you talk about?
Okay, yeah, because you're okay.
I'm straight.
I think
don't want to.
I think you should call Ron. I think you should call. We have a show. It's called the Transatlantic Call-In Show, and I think it's on Thursdays. I'm gonna double check.
Yeah,
it is hosted.
I see the shows all the time. I wanted to talk to somebody like Arden, but I'd be at work. You feel me?
Yeah, I would recommend calling and asking them these questions, because I can do my best to explain it to you, but I think it would be better suited to have an actual trans person have this conversation with you. But I think really the main point is those are labels that are really only for people to externally define who you are.
I'm not gonna respond no more, so I'm gonna hang up. But I'm not running or nothing. I'm gonna listen to what you're saying. I'm gonna listen to it on the show, though. I'm gonna hang up though, because I'm close to the.
Okay. Yeah. Call TACIS. Call that show and talk to actual trans people and see how they how that conversation is different.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye,
Thank you, Ron. Okay, I've been scared to look at the chat. And I think in some ways I understand that, like, defining sexuality, defining gender, like all of it is like so nuanced. So like I understand trying to like navigate that. But what I was hearing was just like a lot of ego conversation where like you are for a person who is describing themselves as like being a masculine male, it feels extremely fragile when you're having a conversation like that.
Yeah, and I think you said this earlier, but like, why is it so, I guess, important to label them yourselves? You know what I mean? Like, instead of them, like, I don't know. I just don't see the issue if somebody tells me there's something and I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know. I guess I don't have that need, but I agree. I think it comes from like these like really strict views on masculinity and what it is to be quote unquote a man. So yeah, that's definitely involved.
I don't know. I think TACIS would be a great place for him to have this conversation. But also he was talking about like when we were talking about anal, and like there is a gland in your anus that makes it that is pleasurable.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too, because I'm like how does he? I don't know how he.
So like if someone wants to get pegged, it doesn't make them gay. It makes them want to experience a different level of pleasure. That's all it is. And it's just a different like group of nerve endings that you're gonna interact with. That's literally all it is. And men would honestly do themselves a fucking favor if they associated a little more with what was going on in the backdoor region. They might like it.
Yeah. I'm dying laughing because I told my nanny to watch this show tonight, and I just didn't see this coming, but not that she would care, but it just makes me laugh that like this is a specific thing. But yeah, sorry, nanny. But yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, there's someone who's been waiting for a little while. His name's David, and I think he actually might have called last week too, so I'm going to pull David into the chat. Hi, David.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you for being so patient.
What?
Thank you for being so patient. I know you waited a long time today. And I think, did you call last week too?
No, just today.
Okay. Well, what would you like to talk about today?
Oh, so my topic is, well, I'll just read it the way I wrote it. Aside from situations where personal safety is in question, can ghosting be considered ethical?
So what situation are you imagining in this, like in that where you're ghosting and it feels ethical to you?
Well, I'm more thinking of it in terms of like, because I have been ghosted. I've never actually ghosted anyone, so, but I know that. Sorry.
Oh no, I think
know
it was
that like
that sound. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. I know that, or at least I've heard that sometimes a woman will ghost a guy if, like, you know, he's being really creepy or something, and and she's afraid that she'll like provoke him more by, saying something to sort of let him down easy. Like sometimes it's better to just completely, disappear or something.
Yeah, I mean, and that feels like personal safety stuff. I think, I feel like if you went on one date with a person and you leave that date and you're like, it was so nice to meet you, and then you never reach out to them again, I'm not like super bothered about that. But
right.
also,
yeah. I mean, sorry.
I was gonna say it's like really not that hard to send a text that's just like, I had a really nice time. I don't think we're a good fit though.
Right.
Taylor, what do you think?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like not like, yeah, just sort of like where someone just completely disappears into the ether.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it would just depend on like the reasoning like behind the ghosting and what the relationship is. Do you know this person? Have you like, had an actual relationship with them? Like I feel like what you said, if it's just like a date or something, like one date, I just don't see the big deal because you don't really know that person. But let's say you've been on 10 dates, like maybe you shouldn't do that because it would be inconsiderate to the other person. I feel like you should only if I feel like there's not a lot of good reasons to ghost, but I know that there are situations I've heard of that I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But I feel like in general, it's probably best to just like tell them what you're thinking.
Yeah, I agree. Clear is kind and unclear is unkind. So I think it's not unethical necessarily if this is like a relatively new relationship, but it's definitely not kind. And I think if you've spent any amount of time, like at a certain age, I think that we should all sort of like get on board with how easy it is to just send a text and be like, it was really nice going out with you. I just am not feeling the vibe. Wish you all the best. And understand that like we're all adults, and I think can understand that like it's nothing has to be taken personally. Sometimes it's just not a good fit for whatever reason. And I think it's just not very nice. Ghosting is just not very nice. The only time where I feel like, okay, it's like kind of fine is if you go on literally one date. But also, when you say ghosting, do you also include if you, David, reached out to this person and they just didn't, they like just are ignoring you also, or just if they didn't follow up?
More like didn't follow up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think if it's only been like 1-2 dates, I think it's okay. Honestly, I think by the third date, you should be able to get like by the time a third date rolls around, you've spent at least 4 hours with this person minimum, and like you should be able to conduct yourself enough to be like, you know, thanks so much for the company. I think it's not for me. You're not, whatever it is.
Yeah, I feel like the main reason people ghost is because they don't want to deal with the conflict. So it's just easier, but that doesn't make it good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, David, do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about today, or did we answer your question?
Yeah, I guess that was about it.
Okay. Well, call back anytime. We're here for all of the little and big dating questions, and you were a lovely call. Thank you for bringing this topic to the chat.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye, David.
Thank you for.
Bye, David.
Bye.
We have a little bit of a delay, so it's like a little.
Oh.
Okay. I'm curious what people think in the chat. Some people are saying it's passive aggressive. It's not always selfish to look out for yourself sometimes, but unwarranted ghosting isn't necessary. Yeah, it's just like not unless they're being creepy. Who cares? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it really does, like the ghosting thing really does come down to like I feel like millennials and Gen Z just have a hard time with, I know I do, with like confrontation, and like it's easier to just out of sight, out of mind, instead of having like an awkward conversation, which I feel like awkward conversations, to be able to get better at them, you have to practice them, and I don't think a lot of people want to do that. So that's when the ghosting happens, I feel.
Yeah, you're so right. You're not going to get better at them if you're not practicing them. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, it's just not that serious, especially if it's like relatively new. It's not that serious to just be like,
right.
It's been nice to hang out and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 more calls. We might have another one that's coming through also, but let's see. Okay, there's one that I think is gonna be maybe not spicy, but like a little bit like we're gonna disagree. And there's one that's like, I want to learn. Which would you prefer first?
Let's do the spicy one.
Okay, let's pull in Ivan. Hi, Ivan.
Hi.
How's it going?
You hear me good?
Yes, we could hear you.
Going great. It's going pretty good. How about you?
Good. We're good. We're hanging in there. So I see that you wanted to talk about. I see you wanted to talk about body count because you feel like that does matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us more. Why do you feel that way?
Well, what I heard from you, I think. Sorry, I don't see you. I'm talking to Alyssa, right?
Yes, and it was probably me because I make a lot of content about body count not mattering.
Yeah. What I heard you saying is how I took it is. You should not ask the question. You should not talk about it. It's not something that's important to you. Now, I just don't agree about you shouldn't ask, because I think you should be able to talk about everything. It's just a piece of information that tells you something about a person. Just as any, like if I ask you how many open air concerts did you visit, your answer is going to tell me something about you. So in this matter, I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, so my question is, what is it telling you about this person? Because if you're going to ask someone, I think you used an example of travel, like how many times have you, whatever, it was like a little hard to hear. But that tells you a person is adventurous. That tells you a person is wanting to explore whatever that activity is, and they are open to travel in the future, maybe like that. And maybe they have like a broader perspective of the world. What do you feel like you gain from learning how many people somebody has slept with? Because that's really where the issue is. Because many times what we feel like we're learning comes from a place of judgment. It doesn't always, but that's the fear in having those conversations.
Okay, cool. Well, in my opinion, it's very similar to what you actually said about traveling. It tells you if a person is adventurous, likes to enjoy themselves, likes sex. It could tell you how much experience they have in the sense of if they're good at it or not. So those kind of things. It's neither good or bad. It's just a piece of information. But I think what you just said now, why it could be a bad thing to ask is the assumption. I actually think the best way to address this is not talk about it, but talk about it. Because if you don't, then it feels like it's something that should actually stay kind of hidden. And if you do talk about it and make it a normal thing to talk about, then it's fine. Like, if you like to have sex, just, go at it and be open about it.
So you don't feel like you're judging people when you ask them that question? You're just genuinely curious? There's no thing behind it of like, if they've reached this number, then it's, I don't want to talk to them, or like, is it just a curiosity thing, or what?
No, not at all. If in any way I'm going to make any kind of judgment, it's actually going to be for me personally. The more the better, because then I'm gonna have more fun. But no. Generally, no.
Okay.
So I think that's a fun perspective, and I would rather people care about body count for that reason. I do also wonder, when you were talking about when you're not talking about it, it feels like you're like creating the shame, and I agree. I understand what you're saying, and it's also kind of reminds me of like, I think when we're talking about the acceptance of like the LGBTQ community, how amazing would it be if if there wasn't really like a coming out process, because it's just like fine and it doesn't really matter. I think it's sort of like that to me. Like that's how it feels to me, but I understand what you're saying too. Like you don't want to like create shame by burying it. But I think it in the way that you approach it, that's going to be really important, because if you're saying, I actually kind of prefer somebody with like a higher body count, and I've had this experience before where someone has said this to me, that they prefer someone with a higher body count because they are like a little bit more like adventurous, and they want someone who like has a similar experience, whatever. And I think if you explain it that way, then you can open up the conversation. But I think that there is some like inherent shame when people have that conversation. And I think people are more inclined to feel like they're going to be judged. So if you're bringing that conversation to the table, just be mindful of where people's mind goes first, which is this person is going to like absolutely judge me and whatever it is.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. But I think the way to fight that is to talk about it, not to talk about it. But also, it just came to me. Let's say you meet a guy that ticks every box and it's fine, but this guy actually does care about body count, and for him it's a deal breaker if it's high. Isn't it better to know that as soon as possible, so you don't waste your time on that guy?
Well, I think Taylor, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm not sure, but I think an argument like could be made there, but that's only because me personally, I feel like I would sometimes want to know how, like, what they prioritize morally and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't. I don't know. You could make the argument that it leads certain people to certain people that agree on that, but I think just still, like, the ideas around that lead to a lot of shame in general with women. So if they do that, that's still, like, upholding those things, even if they find somebody who, you know, agrees and fits what they want.
I think I also don't. I also don't think I would. If someone really cares about body count, they are exhibiting a behavior that would be an indication of other things that I would probably not agree with. Like, if you really think that like sleeping with more than whatever amount of people means that I am not worthy of being in a relationship with you, then I question, first of all, what my value was to you at all. Because why would you even care? Like, what, it doesn't make me any less empathetic and caring and involved and passionate and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't change any of those things. So for someone to care about that so much so that it's a deal breaker, I feel like you would see the signs ahead of time, like, because you're exhibiting a level of judgment that like my liberal ass could not handle.
Yeah, that's a good point. That it leads to whole other thought processes that they probably have. It's not just a single question, really.
Sure. It wouldn't be isolated. Sure. Okay. All right. Cool. I mean, the language thing is tied to something that I was actually discussing with my girlfriend, and this is that she refers, because she's a social worker, she refers to prostitutes as sex workers because it's a less demeaning word. And my position is, well, if you do that, then it's just a matter of time when the people who are bigots and who are putting shame in it, they're just going to transfer the shame into the new word. And now sex worker is going to be something shameful. The way to go about it is to educate people that a prostitute is a job like any other. And if you just switch the word, it's just a matter of time and that word is going to become a bad.
Yeah. I think you have a point. My only rebuttal for this is the word and, like, term prostitution has been around for so long and has been associated with shameful behavior for so long that I wonder if part of the function of shifting to sex worker is because it is new. Like, you're not going to read, like, a book from the 1800s and have it be talking about this dirty sex worker. Like, they'll be like dirty prostitute, and it's like that's embedded in the history of the word in a way that, like, is pretty much only associated in a negative way, where, like, we get to rewrite what sex worker means. And if from the creation of sex worker, or, like, from the time that sex worker is brought into, like, our cultural dialogue, it's been in a positive framework, then I think you have, like, it's like a little more likely that it has a chance to, like, stay positive moving forward. But I think you're right that there is value in also, like, acknowledging that the word we've been using should also not be as charged as it is.
I tie it, for example, to the word bitch, which was a slur, and is less and less so. It's even in some circles an empowering word for women. Now, women use it themselves, but it only became so with use, right?
Yeah, but I think that one more relies heavily on context, or I don't know. I also wanted to say that
it does. No, it does for sure.
I also wanted to say that we've seen certain like minority groups take back words for themselves, like, and turn it into something that is, you know, positive for them. But I think that's like kind of up to the group to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it would maybe not be as great if you decided that for them, if that makes sense. Like if you decide to reclaim the word for them, I feel like usually it's typically the people who are described in certain ways that would choose whether or not they want to, you know, reclaim whatever they're called. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does. It does. Well, with racial words, that is very, very much. I wouldn't feel comfortable using some of the words that are normally used by some people, of course. Yeah, it depends on context. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, that's a good point, Taylor. Like if like people who are doing like work that is what we define as like sex work, prostitution, whatever, if they decide that they want to be like loud and proud about it, then sure. But if it feels like icky to them and they don't want to, then, you know, then I'm cool with using sex workers. And I think maybe at some point in the future, they, you know, they change their perspective on it. But yeah, I think that is like kind of the point, Taylor. I think it's like, it's not really about like us who are not involved in that work, reclaiming the word, and it's really about like that community being able to reclaim the word.
Yeah,
that's the tea. Well, thank you, Ivan. This was such an interesting conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, okay, thank you too. No, it's fine. I just wanted to say, in my experience, they do, because I did talk to a lot of prostitutes, and most of them refers to themselves like that. Because also, sex worker is an umbrella term. There's more things that fall into that category, so it's a bit confusing. But yeah, fine. That's another discussion.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like if you were to ask someone what they do and they say prostitute, then I'll call them, you know, I'll call them whatever they want me to call them, you know? Well, thank you so much, Ivan. This was such an interesting conversation.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your night. Bye-bye. Okay. That was great. I thought that was going to be so spicy, and that was so chill.
Me too. That was a nice surprise when he started actually like talking about what he thought. I was like, oh, okay. You're not what I thought was going to happen. So that's good.
I know. And that created a really interesting conversation. So I'm glad he called in with that. Okay. Oh, you know what I forgot to say? Go to the Patreon. Patreon.com/calledline, and you can see bonus content there. Jimmy's also planning, and Arden, I guess. I don't know. I guess Jimmy and Arden, they're sort of the ring masters of this whole situation. Ring leaders? I actually don't think I like either one of those. Something about them feels like I'm going to get in trouble for that. Okay. Anyway, they are the conductors of this wonderful orchestra that is The Line. That feels safe. And they are working on the Line Con, which is going to be like a little virtual online convention, which is going to be really fun.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah. So go on patreon.com/calledline so that you know all of the information about it. And I know that people who are patrons will get like a lot more exclusive access to that whole experience. And it's going to be really fun. I don't know when we're going to do it, but it's going to be really fun. So check that out. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going to pull in Katya. I love that name. Hi, Katya.
Thank you. Hi. Check that out.
How are you today?
Hello? I'm
Hello.
good.
Do you hear us?
You?
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. We're good. We're hanging. What did you want to talk about today?
So I'm interested in talking about overcoming purity culture and shame in regards to dating.
Okay, how is that showing up for you?
So I'm an atheist, but I grew up in a religious household, and I'm still trying to deal with the remnants of purity culture, I guess. And, part of me wants to date, but another part of me is too scared because I don't want to be judged, or if I start a relationship, I don't want people to start thinking that I've already been used up and stuff like that. It's just a lot of thoughts and feelings that are hard to grapple with. And I'm kind of curious to see others' perspectives or how they got out of that mindset.
I feel like for me, it was just about dating people who didn't have those views of purity culture, like, and kind of being, I don't know, valuing those or being so concerned with those certain things, and to be around those people, it naturally kind of went away. But I know that's different for everybody. But it was nice being around people that maybe I wasn't so used to being around, and realizing that they don't really care. Like, they don't, like, there's a lot of people out there who do not care, you know, what happened or what has happened in that kind of way, or your past or whatever. So I would always seek out those kind of people, but I know it can be really, ingrained and hard to work through.
Especially online, you see a lot of, I guess you would call it, misogynistic content being promoted, especially among younger generations. I feel like we've taken some steps back in that regard, or maybe it just seems that way to me. So yeah, I don't know. I know it's best to be around people who have a similar mindset as you, and maybe being around them for longer periods of time helps you to get over certain things, but it's kind of still always on your mind because such a huge portion of our population still holds those sorts of beliefs. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm even scared of being judged by people I'm not necessarily close to.
I think part of it is also going to just be an ongoing process. Like, I think you'll have moments where you're going to feel great and liberated and fine. And then there's going to be other moments where you get to sort of like check in with yourself. And sometimes it's helpful, and this might sound silly, but sometimes it's helpful to create like an alter ego for the version of yourself that was in the church. And so like maybe your alter ego's name is like, I was going to say Rebecca. Like, that's not a good alter ego name, but whatever. Rebecca? I don't know. And if you're having these thoughts and you're like, I'm feeling really icky, I'm feeling those thoughts creep back in, you could be like, okay, Rebecca, thank you so much for that. I know you're trying to protect me based on like old information, but I don't need you anymore. And I don't need you to protect me in this moment. And giving yourself almost like mental space between the version of you that was experiencing all of that and like who you're evolving into now. And I had someone who was like leading a mentorship thing. She had us, whenever we had thoughts that were like a Rebecca thought, essentially, that were like old patterns, old ways of thinking, she would tell us to literally say, like, in real life, like whether you're in the grocery store or whatever, physically like pluck from your head and say, thank you so much for protecting me. I don't need you anymore. Kiss it and release it. And it sounds really stupid, and like it kind of is. But it really does like sort of do something for you to be like, please, absolutely not. And still like giving some grace to yourself in those moments to be like, I understand that these are old patterns that are trying to like protect me in some way, or you know, are stuck in this old conversation, and I don't need them anymore. I think part of it is also the community you surround yourself with in person, but also the community you surround yourself with like online is really helpful. Like if you go to even go to my Instagram and go to the people I follow, and there's a lot, not all of them obviously, but there's a lot of like sex educators and people who are in the like sex content creation space, and it does help when anytime I open my phone and I see conversations that are like about sexual liberation, and I don't really see that many messages of purity culture that infiltrate through that like little bubble that I've created, because I think that they're like hurtful and I don't want to see them. But that might also be helpful. Like just really dig into people who have embraced sexuality, and even like if you want to read some books about it too, like Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski is a really good one, and it's very like kind of entry level. There's one called Pussy, and it's by her name on Instagram is Mama Gina, and it's like Regina Thomas Hauer or something. It's called Pussy, a Reclamation. I don't love everything in it, but I think it's one of those books that kind of like, it's so wants you to embrace your sexuality that it's almost like radical to read. And it was really life-changing for me when I read it a couple of years ago. Now, when I picked it up again recently, and I was like, I don't know, because sometimes it leans into like the divine feminine and feminine energy and blah, blah, blah. And obviously that just doesn't apply to everyone. And so sometimes that kind of like turns me off to it. But even so, I think that those things are valuable because there are people and resources that are like dripping with wanting you to embrace your sexuality.
Right. I mean, like, not all resources are going to be completely applicable for you. So it's kind of just picking and choosing what works for you. And I also really like your suggestion of creating, kind of compartmentalizing a different persona. Kind of made me think of work personas. When you're at work, you're not necessarily yourself, but you are a work version for your. Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely look at it. I'm online right now, and I just pulled it up. I'll check out the book by Mama Gina that you mentioned, and
then the other one. Yeah, I think you're gonna really enjoy when you like dig into all of these things, because going from a place of purity culture to a place where in this book, that book is also, Pussy is an old book. Like it's like 20 years old. Like it's been around. And to see, like I remember when I read it, I was like, wow, hard P, hard Y. That's the name of the book? Okay. And it made me uncomfortable. And I've had been in like the sex education space already for a little while. But when you're able to like meet yourself in that uncomfortable moment and be like, okay, we're going to walk through this and it's going to be totally fine. It's really empowering. So I think you're really going to love it.
I do like opening myself up to all sorts of different perspectives, but I also think that leads to me opening myself up to perspectives that are not necessarily helpful, because I feel a need to know what everyone thinks, even if knowing those things kind of hurts me and kind of gets ingrained further into reinforcing those beliefs that I already have. If that makes sense.
Yeah, you said something about seeing like red pill content or misogynistic content. I feel like if you ever run into those videos and you're feeling bad or feeling a certain way, I would ask yourself number one, if there's somebody whose opinion you would value in the first place, and also ask yourself, like, what things do they have to be, like, what authority do they have to be talking about this? Like, what is this valuable? Does this help anybody? And not usually, it's always no, because it comes from a place of anger typically and hatred for women. So yeah, I just wouldn't put too much thought into what those specific types of people have to say when it comes to that. But I do understand wanting, a lot of different perspectives, because it's hard sometimes to know, or if you're in an echo chamber or not.
Well, I'm not really, I don't really have a lot of friends, and I don't really have my family around anymore. So I'm online a lot, but I will try to think of people who I've trusted in the past, and maybe like idealized versions of what I would want them to say to me as kind of reassurance. And I don't know, it's a process. It takes time.
Yeah, and you can also, there's a website, recoveringfromreligion.org, and they offer a lot of resources that are like community building, but also they can help you find like mental health support. They have a like a hotline that you can call too, and these are people who are like specifically prepared for these kinds of conversations where people are deconstructing from religion and finding like kind of freedom and all of that. But in terms of the content that you're watching, I'll tell you some like off the top of my head. So obviously, like, you can follow me on Instagram if you want to, and there's also, you can go through my following list. But are you watching the YouTube? Like, do you see the? Oh yeah, you were. Do you see the chat?
I've been glancing over at it. Yeah.
Okay. The only reason I'm asking is because I'm gonna put a bunch of people's Instagram. Like, I'll just put the name of it, because I think if I do the links, I feel like it's not going to work. But I'll put a bunch of people that I know and love that are educated and safe resources, and I think will help surround you with a little bit more of like a balanced, more like, up to date with where you are now in your whole journey. And also, I always say this, but don't sleep on the line community, because the people in these chats are so kind. I mean, I'm sure like some of them are not, but from my experience, they are so kind, and they really have formed like friendships with each other and like friendships with us. Like, I see the same people every single week in the chat, and I like get sad when I don't get to talk to them. And there are some people who've like literally found partners from being people who also watched the line. So engage with our community too, because we're really fun and really nice.
Sure, I'll definitely try. I feel like lately I've been really yearning for community, I guess. But I don't know, I'm kind of an introvert, so I never really know what to say, or I don't have much to say in response. But I'll try to say hi sometimes.
Yeah, do it. Like, everyone's going to be so welcoming to you right away. So anytime you feel ready to say hi in the chat, they will be so ready for you. And I'm going to send a bunch of Instagram handles for some other people that you can check out. And I think most of them are on like TikTok too, but Instagram's just easiest for me to search.
For sure. I'll keep an eye out on the chat.
Okay. Is there any? Oh yeah, I'll put my name on Instagram is the same as it is on here, which is just Alyssa Ljub. It's pretty easy. But yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling and having this conversation with us, and call back anytime.
All right. Thank you. I feel like I'm kind of wasting time, but I really appreciate your kindness today.
You are not wasting time. Calls like this are never a waste of time. And I'll tell you, part of it is also because even if we don't see it in the chat, there are a lot of people who listen to this show, or like this will go on YouTube. And so at some point, like you have no idea who will stumble upon this call, and you having this conversation, like us having this conversation ends up being really helpful and useful for them too. So you're not alone in this. And so it's definitely not a waste of time.
Okay. Well, thank you. I hope you have a good rest of the show.
Thanks, Katya.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Okay. I'm gonna put a couple of people in the chat. Did you have a hard time with like dating? Well, actually, did you date after you left the church? Because are you married now? I don't remember.
Yeah, I am. And like all of that, like me becoming an atheist and stuff all happened while I was like dating my husband. So I don't really have experience like dating, I guess, as an atheist. Although I will say the whole me stepping away from religion thing was a super slow burn. So there was like in-betweens kind of. But yeah, so I feel like it has to be really hard coming out of it and then just straight up dating. That would be hard because you don't have like the comfort of like the one person, which I feel like I was like really lucky to have during that time period. So
yeah, it's hard. It's a big thing to take on because also I feel like it shows up in random places and will be sort of like an ongoing thing that just keeps coming up, you know? So
yeah,
it's good
definitely.
to have support
Shame and guilt
wherever you
are
can find.
Shame and guilt are so like such powerful tools that stick with you for a very long time. Like they're useful to people for a reason because they really get their grip on you, unfortunately.
Yeah, they really freaking do. It's so annoying. Okay. We have wait, where did my call in studio go? Okay, thought I closed it for a sec. Okay. We have 2 more calls before we wrap the show. Let's bring in Alex. Hi, Alex.
We have.
Oh,
Hi,
I hear myself.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So,
and if you can make the short story as short as you can because we're running kind of late on our show, but I know you have a short story that you're going to tell, so I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty short. So I was hanging with my roommates. It was a while back outside our room, and one of them was scrolling through his phone and came across posts of this girl that it seemed like maybe he knows. And anyway, both of them went like, she's going to hell. And so I asked him why, and the dude holding the phone said, she's such a slut. Look at how she dresses. So I went, why is this an issue? What's wrong with it? So, because at the time, I didn't like come across like people that have a problem with like that's when I had the realization that some people have a problem with just people, you know, like wearing revealing clothing or, you know, just, people being sexually open and unreserved. And so we argued a bit about that. And I don't know, like, purity culture is a thing that, like, it's a term that I came across only recently, so I'm not 100% sure what it means. But, you know, I think that this kind of relates to purity culture. This incident where these two guys were like, kind of like they had purity culture on their mind, like sort of like that. And I guess my question is if it relates to that, and like how I can go about to understand like the root of where it comes from, because you know some people in society apparently take being sexually liberal and sexually open pretty negatively for some reason. I'm trying to figure out the source for that. And I suspect being religious is very influential in that, but I'm struggling to really find reason to it in a general sense. And I wonder how I can go about pushing back against attitudes like this.
I think simply asking them why it's so wrong, and like, I don't think a lot of people, especially if it's related to a religion, ask themselves why it's so wrong and really go deep with it, because I feel like they're just told it's wrong and that's it. You don't question it, especially if it's part of religion. And I think part of it is religion gets a lot of people to conform. A lot of it is about conformity. And when they see other people around that are not conforming, it either A, makes them uncomfortable, or B, it makes them angry. Like, why isn't this person conforming like I have, or like everyone around me has? But I feel like one thing you could do is definitely ask them, like, keep asking them, like, why? Like, if they say it's wrong, why? Why is it wrong religiously? Like, why do you think that warrants somebody burning in hell forever just because of pieces of clothing on their body and stuff like that?
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. And I think
yeah, go ahead.
Exactly Taylor's recommendation of asking them why is helpful. And also sometimes when people give an answer, ask them why again. So like if they say to you that they think that it's slutty when a girl's not fully dressed, okay, why? Because she doesn't care about being modest. Okay, why does that matter? Like, what does that mean to you? Well, because that's I don't know, whatever. I don't even know people's reasons for that. Keep asking them why, because it's interesting to see where they drill down to. Because in reality, like, we know that the way that people dress has nothing to do with how they treat other people and how they treat themselves. They're not related. So sometimes it's interesting to just like drill down on that and see if you get anywhere with it. Because ultimately, purity culture is a way to control people's choices. If everyone believes that their main goal is to stay in the church, only have sex with the person that you're going to marry, and thus you must get married soon, then you have all of these people who are going to continue to create these families within the religion and perpetuate that same belief over and over again. So it's all about control, really, is what it is.
There's one thing that I would like. I would wonder, like, how a person who is not religious or like not very religious, I guess, but like still believes in God or whatever, or even like an atheist, how they like why someone like that might still care about like modesty, like in that sense, and like have a problem with body count and like just people being sexually open and sexually liberal.
It's funny that you say that, because I always talk about how it's silly for atheists or people who don't believe in any of like the religious narratives to still be hateful in those ways, because it's like, who are you doing that for? But I also think I know, like, in the US, either way, whether you're religious or not, Christianity impacts your entire culture. So whether people realize it or not, a lot of these things are coming from Christianity. They just don't really know where it's coming from. They don't know. I think it's like still this kind of the same with religious people, where they really don't know why they have a problem with it. They're just kind of conditioned to have a problem with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand like that on a surface level, they're like it generally comes from the deep influence that religion has on society at large. But when it comes down to it, like I don't see like the actual reasoning for shaming people for for sexual involvement outside of marriage and like wearing immodest clothing.
You should ask your friends. Ask your friends and see what they have to say. Because the reason that they're going to give is going to be really stupid and really judgmental. Because there really is no reason. And we tie a lot of morality to things that don't have actual, like, moral value. Like, the amount of people that you have sex with is not, it has nothing to do with morality. You made choices as a consenting adult with another consenting adult. And as long as you were safe and everything was consensual, it doesn't matter. There's no moral value that needs to be assigned to it. It's similar to, like, it's interesting because when people talk about having, like, polite conversations, they'll say you should never talk about, like, money, sex, and religion. And money is an interesting one too, because similarly, people tie a lot of morality to money. If you're good with your money, then you are perceived as being, like, morally greater than someone who is, like, you know, broke. Then you are, people can and have viewed that as, like, a moral failure, which is not the case. It's a similar thing with our sexuality. There is no morality that should be tied to it.
That's the thing that you said about the thing with money being tied to morality. That's new to me. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, think about the reason why people feel shameful about, it's all the same. I think shame is, like, the ickiest human emotion available. Like, I think it is so much worse than any other negative reaction, because it does something that is so, like, it can, like, wreck your self-esteem in, like, a fucking second. And so it's a similar thing with things like money, things like sex. The religion thing, I think, is just because it's, I don't know. It's a little different to me than money and sex, but those people have conversations about money and about sex in the same way very often, because they tie morality and they tie shame to it very often. And now that I said it to you, Alex, you're going to, like, notice it all the time.
Well, in the aspect of money, I haven't actually noticed it. That's quite new to me. Like, in terms of being, like, having less money is less moral and more money is more moral. Like, that's completely blows my mind.
Yeah, I mean, but you've heard people. Well, actually, someone in the chat is saying money equals morality is very supercharged in American capitalism. So maybe you don't experience that as much.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because I live in Israel, that might be, not a thing as much here. I don't know.
Yeah,
but basically,
maybe.
Like, to wrap it up, I just want to see that, as I said, like, purity culture is a term that I only recently, like, came across. So I just want to confirm that I understand the term correctly. It's basically this attitude that some people have that is, like, negative toward, like, sex and, like, modesty stuff, right?
Yeah. I would say you get the gist of it.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for calling. I appreciated the chat, and call back anytime.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Have a good night. We've had such chill calls today, aside from Ron. He was our only unhinged call today. And
yeah, I was going to say, he was super nice.
Yeah, so nice. But for what it's worth, the Ron call, I didn't even know what to say about that, if I'm being so honest. That was crazy.
Same. It was a little rough.
It was rough because I also was like, I don't know how else to explain to you aside from you simply have to shift your perspective because that's not true.
Right.
I don't know what else to say.
Right. Exactly. I feel like it comes to a point where they just think that way, and it's like they aren't going to think any different unless they want to see different perspectives on it. And I don't know if he's there yet. So
yeah,
we'll see.
So annoying. We'll see. Okay, we have one last call before we wrap up the show. So I'm going to pull in Dash. Hi, Dash. Are you there?
Hi, Alyssa and Taylor. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I am doing well. I have to warn you, I have a lot of anxiety over the topic that I'm bringing, and it causes some nausea and stuff. So if I drop, I apologize. It's just my body just reacts in a really, can be kind of a violent and scary way. But hi, should I just get into my topic?
Yeah, and also, if you start to feel nervous, big deep breaths do a lot for your nervous system. So just like, we'll do that actually, honestly, made me feel better, and I feel fine. So, well, is anyone ever fine? Anyway, you're going to be so great. And also, I know that it's scary for you to articulate the things that feel scary to articulate. I promise you, I already know because I read like a little bit of the prompt. What you're asking is so normal and so fine. And there's going to be people listening who are going to be really relieved that you're asking because you're asking a question that many people have. Now I've like really built up to the question. So please, Dash, explain.
No pressure at all, right?
I know. I think I made it worse. I was trying to make it better.
No. You're doing great. So thank you so much. I appreciate the tips on the breathing, and I will definitely take advantage of that. But just to get into it, so I am like basically like gray ace. I am very, very strong demi. So for me, it's really hard to build like an attraction to somebody. Like I can find people attractive, but building attraction, particularly related to sex, is really, really challenging for me. And I take really, really good care of myself. Like I'm in incredible shape. I'm not a bad looking human. I get approached all the time in public. I'm very outgoing, very personable. I love humans. So I don't know how much context that's going to bring to this or anything, but I just wanted to like get that out there in terms of meeting people and having conversations. But so I started seeing my girlfriend about 6 months ago or so, and my girlfriend is poly, and this is the first non-monogamous relationship I've ever been in before. And just to be clear, I'm very, very left-leaning. I'm very sex-positive. I think as long as you're both consenting adults and nobody's getting harmed in the process, you can do whatever you want. I have no problems with that. I have no problems with the poly lifestyle, E&M, all that good stuff. Having said that, she is also very kinky, which is, I'm a fairly vanilla person. So we have had a lot of discussions about kind of her past and things, and it's nothing that's been upsetting or offensive to me. I'm proud of everything that she's done and been through, and I respect it all, and I'd never, judge her or anything or take anything away from that. She is pan, and so before we started dating, she used to go to play parties, and we've talked about these in the past, and so I have a fairly firm grasp of what's involved with them, kind of what they're all about, roughly what the people are like at these parties here. And she very much wants me to attend one of them with her. This causes a lot of panic with me. I've had panic attacks over these conversations. I don't think any consent is going to be violated there. They seem like they're all like just a really lovely group of folks. And my girlfriend very much is one of her kinks is exhibitionism, but consensual. So she won't do anything in public without every person who has view of it, without their express consent to be seeing whatever they may be seeing. So this is like a really big thing for her. And, you know, being her partner, you know, one of her primary partners, she is married. She has a wife. It's just a polyromantic relationship that they have. It's not a sexual relationship at all. Her wife also has a boyfriend. They all live together, the three of them. And my girlfriend also has another partner who is essentially like a purely sexual relationship with that person as well. But getting kind of back on track a little bit, I am uncomfortable with the thought of like these play parties, but I very much want to be there to fulfill her desires. And I've told her, I'm like, if this is something you want to do, please, by all means, like go and do these. I don't want to stop you from doing whatever it is you find joy in or you find satisfaction in. Like, I don't want to be that person to you. I want to support you in everything that you want. But she doesn't want to attend them without me. So it's kind of come to a point where I'm struggling with how to proceed. I want to support her. I want to fulfill what she's requesting, but I also want to feel comfortable doing that. And she very much recognizes that. She is consent is everything to her, and it is to me as well. So it's very important for her that I feel comfortable in whatever we do or whatever we have done or may do. And we have started exploring some of those kinks that I was uncomfortable with, but we've worked through them and processed them, and we've engaged in them in safe and consensual terms. And it's, you know, some have been great, some have been not so great, but it's all learning experience. But this one is one that I'm really struggling with. And I was just looking for advice or anything on this particular subject.
I love this conversation because I think it's important. And because you have like a really unique situation in that there's like a lot of people in the mix. Also being demisexual changes your perception of sexuality. And we have a lot of demisexual folks in the chat too. And they were excited to hear another person that they can identify with have this kind of conversation. So I told you people would want to hear this. But the biggest thing is, actually, my first question is, would you be comfortable going to a play party where you're only observing? Or is that also kind of like not comfy, not feeling it?
I feel like I'd be very uncomfortable in that situation.
Okay. So I'm thinking that this is just not for you. And I think if you push yourself to go, there's a chance that you end up being sort of resentful. There's a chance that you end up having an experience that feels traumatizing to you. Like that is just not there's also like there's an interesting thing, and this might feel unrelated at first, but I promise it is related. There's an interesting thing that our brains do when we prove to ourselves that we can accomplish the things that we set out to do. We start to like build what ends up being our integrity. It ends up being like the mechanism that creates good habits. And so when we decide I'm going to start a fitness journey, but I'm going to do walking every day. I'm going to get my 10,000 steps every day. And you do that every single day for an extended period of time, you start to prove to yourself and create this like positive feedback loop to yourself that, okay, I'm capable of doing hard things. And I did a hard thing that was out of my comfort zone once, and I can do it again and again and again. The inverse of that is if you're feeling like this is not something that you are comfortable with, beyond it being something that is like, you know, if you should never do things that you don't want to do. And if it's making you uncomfortable, then that's your sign that it's not for you. But you also don't want to start this negative feedback loop in your head, which is telling yourself, telling your brain, telling your body that even if this is something that my body is signaling to me that I don't want to do, I might force myself to do it for somebody else. Like, even though everything in my body, like my physiological reaction is absolutely the fuck not. Doing those things creates like a weird pattern in your head, and you sort of like chip away at this positive feedback loop and the integrity that you've built up to this point. And so it's important that you stick to the things that you are comfortable with, and also stick to your guns with the things that you're not. I assume your partner knew that you were demisexual before you started dating. So I think that the conversation that you get to have is, I appreciate so much that you want me involved, and you know where my sexuality lies. And I'm just really not comfortable with this. I would love if you went with a different partner. I would love if like we could find an alternative. Like, what's an alternative that where we can meet in the middle where you don't feel uncomfortable? Because the other thing too is, like, if this partner really cares about you, surely they will care that you're uncomfortable. They should be able to also take a step back and be like, okay, well, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Like, if it's really going to create this for you, then like, I don't want to do that. And it might be a situation where the conversation is like, okay, well, maybe then we aren't a good fit for each other. And that's okay. But the biggest priority has to be your emotional, mental safety. Enthusiastic consent is really important. And it feels like, regardless, it's not, enthusiastic consent is not going to be something that's achievable for you, which is totally okay.
Yeah, and to kind of respond to a couple of your points, which I agree with all of what you said. I have brought this up as well. Like, she's brought it up in the past, and I was like, when I feel comfortable, I'll bring up these conversations. So I've actually brought them up in the past because I feel almost like it's an obstacle to overcome, because I do want to meet what her needs are when she's requesting certain needs. And I'm like, well, this is something, first of all, I agree with all this. Again, very sex positive. So I totally agree with all of it. And when we have conversations when I'm feeling overwhelmed or like it's too much, I'm like, I will say, I'm overwhelmed, and the conversation completely disappears. In terms of her support for me, it is 100%. I do have the chat up, and I saw some things about how my partner shouldn't be pushing me. And to be absolutely clear, she has never pushed me to do anything. She said, if you never get there, in one of our conversations, if you never get there, that is perfectly okay, and it will not change how I feel about you one bit. And she's very much sincere about that, and I very much believe her. She's honestly one of the best people I've ever met, and this has been one of the best relationships I've ever been in. And that's why I want so much to be able to provide to her what she desires and what she wants. And I know she has these requests, but I also know there's absolutely nothing that there's no sort of pressure of, if you don't do this, it's going to change my opinion of you, or it's going to change the dynamic of this relationship. Not at all. She's like, I understand there's some things you're just not comfortable with, and that's fine, and that's you, and I don't want to change who you are. I want to support the person you are, but I also want you to know what some of my desires and some of my needs are. And she said, if some of these never get met, if this never ever becomes a thing for the rest of her life, and we're together for the rest of her life, and we never attend one of these ever, she said, I would be 100% fine with that. And I legitimately believe her on that. She's a very honest and forthright person, so I absolutely believe that. But I do care about her so deeply, and to me, it's really important to try and meet as much of her wants and her needs as possible. I think one of the great things about the poly lifestyle, which I'm coming to learn, is that I can't fulfill everything she wants. I know I can't. I'm a single person and I'm multifaceted. She doesn't fulfill all of my desires, and, you know, vice versa. We never will. There's just so much to humans. So I understand that there's other ways to fulfill that, and I don't take offense to that as long as it doesn't take away from the quality of our relationship. But again, in that same vein, I would love to be able to fulfill as much of her desires as possible. So, it's really important to me, but it's also something where I recognize if I can't get there, I just can't get there. I'm just wondering, like, is there a way for somebody that's demi and, again, is like gray ace to overcome this fear or hesitancy surrounding sex? Like, I just don't know if there's a way to get past it.
The only thing I can think of is, which also I'm so happy that your partner is like, if this is not in the cards for you, it's okay. That's amazing. The only thing I can think of is finding ways to sort of like desensitize yourself to what those experiences are, especially if you're just going to be watching. So if that's something you want to try, you can watch like different kinds of porn and see. I think I'm back. I think I froze for a second, but I'm back. Okay. You could watch different kinds of porn and see if it's almost kind of like exposure therapy a little bit, and see if watching it helps neutralize what that experience is going to be. And it doesn't feel so fearful because you're getting some sort of exposure. The only thing is, if you're watching porn and you're on a place that's like free, like Pornhub, it's not always very like kind and ethical. So if you have the means to do so, I would recommend going on a place like Cheeks. It's Get Cheeks, is get and then CHEEX.com. And they make ethical porn, which means everybody was paid appropriately, everyone's contracted, they know where this content is going, and they also have like diverse bodies, diverse gender expressions. It's like, I started using Cheeks like 3 years ago and have literally never gone back to anything else. But so I would recommend maybe giving that a try. And also, one of the biggest inhibitors to feeling aroused, and the physiological arousal system, is cortisol. So if you're feeling stress every time you're having this conversation, there is no way that arousal could potentially ever start. And sometimes the thing that creates the stress is the anticipation of the conversation and the anticipation of the proposal, the anticipation of you having to say the no. Like, that alone can create a lot of pressure that is like gonna take you totally out of the game. So it might even be helpful to tell your partner and say, I think this is off the table for me now, but I'm going to do a little exposure therapy. I'm going to like watch some of these play parties, and maybe in like a month, let's revisit this conversation, or 2 months or whatever, and see if that helps take the pressure off of you so that you're not feeling like this conversation is like clouding everything else about your relationship.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We've actually talked about ethical porn and all that stuff too. That, like, she will not watch any of the like the Pornhub stuff or whatever because of those concerns. Totally right there with you. But one of the other things, I'll just add this as well for extra context. She said that they do have like outings, like just all of the folks within these parties, because it's, a lot of the same recurring people, where they'll have outings and they'll go bowling, or they'll go watch a movie together, or they'll go out to dinner together. And it's absolutely not like sexual in any means. It's just a bunch of, a friend group going out and just getting to know each other and making friends with each other and getting comfortable with each other. And she was like, we could go do this if you'd like, to just like, let's go do like a bowling party if that would interest you. And even those conversations can cause like a panic attack for me. So I'm like, even just meeting them, even in like a completely public place, just as like as a normal group of folks or whatever, is still like, it causes a lot of anxiety for me. And that's why I'm really nervous about like, can I make it to that point? And I don't know if I can. And again, I'm not saying it's something I have to, or something that if I don't do it, it's going to change our dynamic. It's not. But it comes down to purely like, I want her to be happy and I want her to be fulfilled. And I'd love to be the person to meet those things that make her feel that way.
Dash, I just wanted to say that, and I feel like it's so great that you want to, make her as happy as possible or fulfilled as possible. But I feel, and I know this isn't the same, but I feel like there are a lot of things that maybe my husband would love for me to be involved in that I'm not. Like, I either don't have any interest in it at all, or I don't feel like it's something I can do, or whatever it might be. And I feel like that's where other relationships come into play, like what you're saying, where even in like a monogamous relationship, it's important to have friends and other people you can do stuff with, because your partner can't fulfill every single one of those things. So there's plenty of things that he does that I'm sure we could bond over, but I have also my own things that I want to invest my time and energy in, and that make me who I am. And those things make him who he is. And then sometimes we meet in the middle and find stuff we have in common. Sometimes we try new stuff together that we both enjoy. So I just wouldn't feel bad about that, because I think that happens in like every relationship. And I know yours is specific to something like sexual, but yeah, I don't know. I think you're trying to be a really good partner, but I just wouldn't put so much pressure on yourself, and allow your partner to get support from other people around her, or like, do those things with other people. So that way you're not carrying so much yourself.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to go to those times where they're going to the movies or to dinner, the movies is probably even better because you're not really even talking to anybody. I think before you even commit to something like that, you have to tell your girlfriend, going to the actual parties is off the table for me right now. Not forever, but just for right now. Maybe that will help relieve some of the pressure, because I would imagine you going to those things, it's like, if you go to those events, and if and when somebody asks you, oh, do you think you're going to join us for one of like the play parties, for you to be able to be like, no, not right now, but I love that you guys do this, and I'm down to like hang out, go to movies, whatever. That like firm response can just like put a little cap on it, and then like the pressure kind of comes off, because you're just going to hang out with new friends.
Yeah. I want to get past that. I don't see anything wrong with, hanging out with these folks at all. Like, I don't see anything wrong with their lifestyle. I think it's great that they're, they operate in such a, consensual manner. Like, I think it's great, and I support it. I wish I was that way. I sincerely do. And it sucks that like, I just know my brain doesn't function that way. And I'm hoping that someday, some way I could possibly get there. But I appreciate all the advice and everything. Like, I don't want to keep the call for too long, but y'all are both amazing. And thank you both so much.
Thanks for calling, Dash. And also, I had a therapist tell me this once, and it like is weirdly helpful to me. Anxiety doesn't follow logic. So like, you can intellectualize the anxiety as much as you want, but sometimes anxiety is just anxiety, and like, it's your brain telling you that you're just like not comfortable with whatever whatever it is right now. So like set your boundaries. Like Taylor said, this just might be something that your partner gets to do with somebody else. But yeah, and listen back to the call, because I feel like we had like so many different little suggestions that might be helpful, and take the things that land and leave the things that don't. And call back and let us know how this evolves if you want to.
I will. Thank you so much. I hope you both have a lovely evening.
Have a good
Dash.
night.
Oh, we love
really
Dash.
Sweet. They're really sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, let's do super chats, and then we blow this popsicle stand and go to bed. Okay, if anyone has any super chats they want to get in, now's the time. $10 from Atheum Ethos. Thank you both for being awesome. The community this channel has fostered is truly amazing, and I am so thrilled. I assume there's a second one, maybe? That's it. Okay. I am so thrilly. Thank you so much.
$5 from Cat's Meow 8512. It's Mercury in retrograde, or is that woo woo? Happy Tuesday. Hashtag team. What? Zerba?
That might be a Pokemon thing. We've been talking a lot about the Pokemon situation. I don't know. Someone tell me in the chat if that's. Oh, you're right. It is. Yeah, I forgot. It is. He drew this like insane zebra, and it's now merch, and it is terrifying. So thank you for that.
Oh, nice. I'll have to go look at it.
$5 from Cat's Meow 8512. IRL dating for the win, but much love to my peeps who make the apps work. Hashtag love is love. Yeah. And you just never know when you're going to find it.
$10 from Joshua Ever 9887. Weekly tithe and report from the first priest of the Taylorist cult. What even is that word? Am I tripping?
I don't know.
Am I dumb? Primark? What am I saying? I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
I have a cult that's pretty cool.
Someone in the chat clarify what that meant. $5 from Monkey a Typewriter. 2 things for Ron. 1, Ron has never witnessed a female orgasm in real life. 2, 100% Ron knows the knuckle that get. Are these getting cut off? I can't tell. Or am I just thinking that they? Weird.
Damn.
Ron was really weird, and his masculinity is way too fragile. Oh my god.
$10 from Jimmy Snow does what? XP? Last forever? Can I game the system?
XP
What?
is like experience points, so it's like a gaming situation. Oh, okay. So they're getting cut off. The messages are getting a little cut off.
Damn.
I got word from Monkey a Typewriter that his message was a little cut off. Damn it.
Okay. Rip.
Okay, he left our new producer unattended.
Rip.
It's just another rip. Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Send the short ones and then hopefully he'll come back for the longer ones. $5 from YBZ Pilot 1. Caller Ron was just a rude contrarian. Their logic does not hold, in my opinion. I agree.
Yeah,
I also think he was just, he was so determined to not accept that if you date a trans woman, that doesn't make you gay. I've said this before in a previous show, I think that if we didn't have the previous expectation of like what normal sexuality is, I genuinely think all of us would be pan. Like if we didn't care, I think we all would just like cuz
I agree with you.
Who's to say? And at the end of the day, a hole's a hole. And if you find someone attractive, we all have like girl crushes and what, like it's, I think there's a lot more flexibility in that than we're giving ourselves credit for.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's hard to exactly know considering, what we're all influenced by. It's kind of, interesting thought. $5 from Alishana Silverbow. Why are ghosts so bad at relationships? They're always ghosting people. Hashtag ghosting is no joke. Hashtag makes Booktober year round. Yeah, I agree. Halloween's my favorite, so I'm all for that.
Me too. I love Halloween. They just started doing a Summerween collection.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw it there. Yes.
Kind of intrigued. I also got the rest of Monkey at Typewriter's message, which was 2 things for Ron. 1, Ron has never witnessed a female orgasm in real life. 2, 100% Ron knows the knuckle that gets to the splash button. Great show, y'all. Oh, that's really funny. Great show, y'all. Okay. Thank you, Will, for sending that. 10 pounds from the Fuzzy Logic. I feel like any guy who seriously uses the term body count to refer to previous partners is the same kind of guy who refers to women as females, like a Ferengi from Star Trek. I'm positive that's not
I don't
how
know
you
what
say
that
that,
is.
so I'm so sorry.
But I do agree that it
females.
is the same.
Okay, yeah, it feels like it would be an alien. Yeah, females. I saw someone on Threads today say something like, what sounds and feels like a slur but is not a slur? And one of the replies was when guys say females. I'm like, yes.
Yes, it's always coming from red-pilled spaces, like those females. Like, why are you talking about women like that? It's weird.
Yeah. Gross.
$5 from Bobby Kingston, 7240. I hope I can make it through super chats tonight. We'll see. I ate a big bowl of cornflakes, and you know what that means. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Okay.
Oh wait, I don't know. Do I want to know?
No, it's like totally. It's not scary. I promise. So cornflakes were created by Kellogg's, because they felt that bland foods would deter people from like sin.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And so that's the purpose of cornflakes. Bobby, thank you so much for bringing that to the show.
It's crazy because I literally just learned about that yesterday and I was like, wow, I never knew.
Yeah.
Now I do.
So crazy. $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. No matter how cold you are, do not attempt to build a fire in a kayak. You can't have your kayak and heat it too. It's good. That sounds scary. That's funny.
$10 from Jamnik06. When 23-year-old, I ghosted because purity. We had a great first date, knew a second date would lead to sex, yet was still saving myself for someone also pure. No sex no equals no XP. Hashtag regrets. Hashtag missed opportunities.
Oh, $10 from Jamnik06. Part 2. The pure woman I was courting and saving myself for at the time decided I wasn't Christian enough. She married someone more involved in the church, regardless of her admitted lack of passion with him. Damn. Well,
I feel like that's common.
Yeah, and I think you're better off for all of that.
Yeah. $10 from Jamnik again. Part 3. Between her getting engaged and married, she told me she cashed in her V card in high school since I had touched her. Wow. She was surprised I didn't already know. Hashtag Bible myths about. Hashtag purity culture sucks. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. Purity culture also is part of the reason why we don't have sex education in schools, and they teach abstinence only. And all of the states that teach abstinence only instead of comprehensive, medically accurate sex education are the states that have the highest rate of teen pregnancies and the highest rate of STIs.
Mm-hmm.
And as my boyfriend would say, fork found in kitchen. Like, obviously, you're not teaching people anything. $5 from Joshua Everett. 9887. Yikes. I'm broke because I keep giving my money to people who deserve it. I remember when that came through and it was relevant to what we were talking about, but now I don't remember what we were talking about the morality of money. But thank you.
Oh, okay. $5 from Joshua Everett because Alyssa just reminded me to take a deep breath and I immediately felt better. Oh, good. We love to hear it.
Love a deep breath. Stop it!
Slick.
I feel like you've been holding on to that one. Am I red? I feel like I got red. I'm hot. Okay. $20. Oh, really? Oh my god, that's really funny. Okay, so no one else heard that, but our producer just said something really funny and it made me blush. Okay. $20 from Mr. Boricua 10. Missed most of the show. I was getting health stuff under control. Oh, I hope you're okay. It's been a rough couple of weeks. Hope your day was better than mine. I heard Ron's call. How rude that ghoul is. Person has a ton of things to sort out. Y'all be well. I'm sorry. I hope you're feeling okay. That's rough.
Yeah, get better soon.
Yeah.
$10 from, how do you say that? Jessica? Am I saying that right? I don't know.
Jessica.
I'm Polly. Oh my god. Okay. I'm Polly and oh my god. I hate it. I hate it when I do that. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna act like that didn't happen. I'm Polly in a different way. I'm autistic, and if one person was dedicating their time to only me, it would be too much for me. So I would want them to get a second. Oh, not me. Hashtag Espeon sucks, man. There's so much slander in here, and I like Espeon for real, so it's so sad.
Also, okay, wait. Before, the other hashtag was hashtag love you soon, which I think is like the cutest thing ever. And I can't remember which other host meant to say talk to you soon and love you at the same time to Jimmy, like when they were doing a show, and she said love you soon. And I think it's cute. Really cute. Love you soon. Okay, $9.99 from the Nick XII. I'll be so honest. I don't know what Roman numeral that is. And I don't intend on finding out. Hi, Alyssa. We love you, Nick, Abby, and Pesto. That is my brother and his wonderful girlfriend and his dog, Pesto. Thank you guys for watching. So nice. I love you guys so much. You guys are so cutie.
$5 from President Starscream. That's the problem I had with my ex. She created a stressful atmosphere around schmecks. Thank you, Alyssa. I didn't even know I needed to hear that. But look at that.
See? It's always, people always feel like they don't want to have, like, every time someone has a call and they're like, I don't know, I'm nervous to have this conversation, whatever. It's always something that everyone else, everyone else wants
other people
to hear
need to hear.
Yeah, always. $10 from Water Otter? Water Otter?
It's okay. I'm so glad I'm not the only one like this, so...
You guys are all legally required to forget that I just did that. That was Water Otter 123. Oh my god. Thanks for the great show, Alyssa and Taylor. Also, I loved the diversity of those stuffed animals you have in the back, Taylor. Yeah.
Thanks. So cute. I already said this when I was on with Arden, but guys, I make them. I promise I'm not just displaying all my plushies. Although I do also have other plushies, so it doesn't really help my case.
What's a girl to do?
Oh, $5 from Joshua Everett 9887. Primarch. It essentially means first leader. Okay. I don't know why. I don't know how cool. I've never heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah, me neither. I know Primark, the store, and it is really fun to shop in. $10 from Resolute My brain is telling me that says decide, and I know that's not what it says. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know how to say that.
That's okay.
Decide? I don't know. Thank you so much. Can I get some advice on how to find single people who enjoy engaging with deep ideas and philosophy? Everyone I seem to meet just gets uncomfortable when things get too deep or too high stakes. I think this community is probably a really good place to start, because one thing about this chat, they take nothing lightly. And also everything lightly because they're big jokesters. But I feel like this is a community of people who are deep thinkers. So I would engage with this community more, and you can join the Patreon, which gives you access to a Discord where you can talk to people there. And I don't know. I also think it depends on where you live, but I would look for events and fun stuff that you can do where other people like that would go. Like I know in the city there's this thing, it's like, lectures on tap, and it's literally a woman who organizes random like professors and just experts in all these different fields, and they do these presentations about literally anything and everything. It is all over the map, and it's really, really fun. Yeah. And so I would imagine like someplace like that, if you go to one where like maybe the person presenting is like a philosophy professor or something, you probably could find people like that there. But I don't know, Taylor, do you have any thoughts?
I just understand the struggle with that, like about wanting people around you that aren't afraid to talk about some certain things, because I'm always talking about nihilism and stuff like that to my friends, and I don't know if we'd be friends if I couldn't always talk about that stuff. So I understand the struggle. As far as where to meet singles specifically, I don't know. My other thought is maybe like if you have books you really like pertaining to that stuff, if there's like any book signings or something. I don't know if that would work. But that's probably my only thought.
It's all the same, like go to places where you would find, like, think of the things that you're interested in, go to that place.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I think this one's you.
I don't know if this is... Okay. $5 for Monkey at Typewriter. Fun fact, purity culture and racism are why we have square dancing? Really? Basically the FBI op by J. Edgar Hoover to keep white girls away from black men. Is that real? Damn. That's crazy if real.
Wow. I have a Google to do after this. That is so bizarre. So strange. Thank you everyone for watching the show, especially for being patient while we were having crazy tech issues. And thank you to our producer. You're so hot and we love you. Thank you to all of our patrons. And now we ride off into the sunset. Yeah. Oh, I'm gone.
Goodbye, Alyssa. Oh my gosh, there's like two of me.
No, I love this.
Do you see two of me?
There we go.
Man.
We got it.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, girl. Oh, thank you to all of our mods and our screeners as well. We appreciate you. See you next week. Bye, y'all.